Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to episode 35 of the Music Mind podcast. Today my special guest comes from Canada, Nicolas Bernier, a wonderful trumpet player, piano player and arranger. Nicolas just happens to be the youngest ever guest so far on the Music Mind podcast. When you hear him play and talk, I'm sure you will agree that his place is well deserved in the series. Well, hi, Nicolas, and welcome to the Music Mind podcast. It's fantastic to have you here today, all the way from Canada, as my special guest for episode 35 in the series.
Hi, man. Super happy to be here. Yeah.
That's great. Now, our audience have just seen and heard a really snappy little video you did of the famous Flintstones theme. Now, that song was written in 1961, 64 years ago. I think you're currently 18, are you? How old are you?
Yeah, 18 years old right now.
So I suppose my first question is why that, it's a wonderful piece of music, but how did you become aware of that tune and what drove you to do an arrangement of that famous song, TV theme?
Yeah, well, basically, I first heard about that tune, the James Morrison big band version. I absolutely love that version. I mean, I've known about it since the longest time. It's one of my most inspiring pieces that I've ever listened to, and I mean, that's how I know the Flintstones thing. But when I got to arrange that piece, because I was looking for good ideas, of what to do. I'm trying to get those snappy pieces that people kind of already know, but I want to add my little own touch while still being true to the original. So that's what I did for the Flintstones. So and then I learned that my parents watched that when they were kids, and that a lot of the other generations knew about it also. So I was happy to see that I wasn't the only one knowing about that famous song, and making
Oh,
that arrangement was great.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. I was actually born in 1961, so when I was a kid over here in Australia, the Flintstones in black and white, I would watch when I'd come home from school. So I've got a massive history of that song. I love it. When you set out to arrange that, that's obviously got a little backing track, but I think you did it, was it 4 trumpets or 5 trumpets, that arrangement?
This one is 5 and 6 trumpets. Mainly, there's 5 main trumpet parts. I don't quite remember. I'd have to look at it, but I usually write my parts for 5 trumpets. It's always cool to have that 4-part harmony in every song, but
Yes.
that fifth voice can always like add something more, like uh, you know, uh, doing the same lead voice but down, so it's clear up there, or just solos on top of a trumpet, backing track, or whatever. So that's why I write for 5 trumpets always, and try to give interesting stuff to each part. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly working. So let's talk about your arranging skills. How did that come about? You've obviously been playing the trumpet, I suspect, for most of your life. When did you start on trumpet?
I started on trumpet about 5 years ago. So
Ah, okay.
in Canada here, the school system is quite different than I don't know about Australia's school system, but the US school system, you have high school, you have then college, things like that.
Yes,
I'd say I've started, it's called secondary school here. It's
yes.
after primary school. So I was about 12 years old, pretty sure.
Okay.
So picked up the trumpet there. Um, was I 12, maybe 13 or 14? I said 5 years ago, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not so sure.
No,
But yeah, I picked it up there, and yeah, funny. I'm gonna derail a bit, but
yeah.
funny story. At first, I didn't quite like the trumpet. I'm a piano player
Yes.
mainly. That's my first instrument since I was 7 years old.
Okay.
So that's where I got music from. But I was forced to pick up trumpet in secondary school because playing in a concert band, there wasn't the piano part.
No.
So I had to choose. And my first choice was the saxophone,
Ah,
and the second choice was the trumpet.
that's right.
But thank God I got the trumpet, man.
Yeah. Well, look, I want to delve into this. You are the youngest guest I've had on the Music Mind podcast to date. I'm sure the way the world's going, someone will beat that record of yours in the future. A thing I want to delve into with you is how you see the music business that you are growing up in, what your future might hold for you, and also how you got so good at music. I'm amazed you've only been playing the trumpet for what, 4 years? Let's say even 5 would be outrageous. I do want to delve into that because I don't know whether you realise it or not, but for most people, the trumpet has got to be one of the hardest instruments to learn to play. You either are suited to it or you're not. We've just seen you rip through the Flintstones like a very seasoned professional. How long ago was that video recorded?
Pretty sure it was maybe 2 months, 3 months ago
Okay,
when I
so
made that
so
video.
so
Yeah.
quite recent. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're pushing 18 or 17 when you're playing that is pretty good. I want to take you back to the arranging though, because it's one thing to play an instrument well, or in your case, piano and the trumpet. Tell us about where did you develop your skills to do those arrangements? Tell us the background to that.
Yeah, so pretty much like as I said, my first instrument is a piano. Uh, I have a classical background of piano, but when I picked up the trumpet, I got introduced to jazz, and then I started playing jazz piano a bit more
Ah,
in a big band.
okay.
So got introduced to like all the theory things, scales, weird things, jazz. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I started to really like it, and I realized that playing the piano and the trumpet it really brought together the theory, the visual stuff on the piano. It made it work. All the music, made a lot more sense because I played piano. And I think that's why I can play the trumpet today, like I do. It's partly due to the piano knowledge that I got. And for the arranging stuff, well, I wouldn't say I didn't learn from anybody. I've had tips and tricks from everybody here and there, but I never really had classes about it. So it's pretty much just trial and error. I've been arranging since secondary four, so that would be about 15 or 16 years old.
okay.
So, I wasn't good back then, but
No.
I just kept doing it until I got better and better. And then I got an idea. I recorded Fly Me to the Moon. I just said, oh man, let me do a video with that and it'll be cool. And then I started my journey on posting on Instagram and arranging. And we're here today and it's
It's
great.
great. It's a credit to you. So essentially, I guess self-taught with your arranging. Let's have a look at another one of your arrangements. Now, almost all of your videos, and I guess due to your age, are very short, 40 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. I guess that's targeting your generation where, not to be rude, but the attention span is generally pretty short. Let's have a look at, you did a great version of Dream a Little Dream of Me. Now, this is another song. I started playing guitar when I was 8, but the music of the time, the sheet music, there's no such thing as the internet or YouTube or any of that, was largely old piano scores. And the closest they'd get to putting chord symbols were ukulele chord symbols. So if you know anything about the difference between the guitar and the
Yeah.
ukulele, they're tuned completely different. So I can still see me staring at the ukulele chords for Dream a Little Dream of Man thinking, what on earth are they on the guitar? Let's have a look and a listen to you play a multi-trumpet version again of Dream a Little Dream of Me. Are you a self-taught trumpeter or have you had professional help with the trumpet?
Mm. Well, the school I went to in secondary school, which is similar to high school,
Yes.
I had this amazing program. We played music half the day, and then the other half we had academic classes like French.
Wow.
Here in French, I speak French.
Yeah.
I'm in Canada,
Yeah, yeah,
Quebec.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we have these in English, all that stuff. But half a day we have music to play. We always have a big band rehearsal, a concert band rehearsal, and the third period is like personal practice or computer stuff. So we get introduced to a bunch of things. But the main thing I think is very cool in our school is that we have private teachers that we can see about one time each 2 weeks. So these teachers guided me a lot throughout my upbringing on the trumpet, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
say.
yeah. Yep.
So there's a lot of credit that goes to them, but there's also great inspiration. You know, as I was going to go into I started liking the trumpet eventually. That's because of one guy. He's called Wayne Bergeron.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I listened to his Aladdin, a song. It was after a big band rehearsal. My trumpet teacher put that on the speakers, and I was just impressed at how the trumpet could go high up there. So I just started brute forcing my way until I could get it.
Oh
It's not the
my,
right way, but
oh my goodness! Because I was just looking at your lips there. There's no obvious Louis Armstrong scars. You haven't been jamming the trumpet through your teeth. One of your friends, I believe, is Louis Dowdswell, or you've had contact with Louis. Now, one of the things I had the honour of him as a guest just recently, and one of the things that I commented to him is that he looks it looks effortless when he's playing. I'm sure there's an enormous amount of energy going into it.
as I said, I learned quite brute forcing. It was not the right way, but I think
Mm,
it was the only way for me to eventually get it. If I couldn't get the notes, I would have gotten demotivated. So, I got the notes out. They didn't quite sound good at first,
yep.
but as time went on, I got the hang of it. And then I just realized how easier it was to play up there if I didn't use all these useless muscles in the face to be
Mm,
strained. So I am putting a lot of energy in the trumpet, but I'm just using it the right way. I'm using the right muscles. I'm not perfect yet, but I try to use the right muscles to really just only this is tight, nothing else.
yeah.
Like my abdominal is of course engaged, but all the face muscles, I mean I can do it for show, but it never helps me with endurance and control or all the things like that. So I really put the focus in the past year, just trying to play as effortless as possible. But there's
Well,
still all the pressure. Everything's there. It's just less apparent to the eye, and it makes it way more efficient to play.
one of the criticisms, I guess, often, particularly online, and not that you should ever be concerned of what people say online, and it's not about you, but a lot of the criticism from the old trumpet players is, oh, look, it's easy to put up a 1 minute video on YouTube. Try and do that after a 3 hour set, playing in a Las Vegas big band, and it's a fair comment. It's a completely different skill to be able to play, for 2 or 3 hours full blast, as opposed to I'm going to record something now. I might have one or two goes at it, and it's there for the world to see. What's your current situation with endurance on the horn on the trumpet? Do you have pretty good endurance, or are you more of a short spell sort of player?
Yeah, I mean that's an amazing question. That has been something that I'm still working on, as everybody is. I wouldn't say I'm the best like for what I can play. Maybe I don't have the endurance that I want to right now, but I mean I'm getting towards it, and I spoke about that subject to many trumpeters. And it's something that's still to be coming by age and just by playing. So that's what I've been doing, just playing every day, keeping it rock steady until eventually things will get to a point that I can play for like this for hours on end. But I'm not there yet, of course. So I will
No,
admit, like these videos are hard, and I can't play them the whole day long.
no.
It won't work. No, it won't.
So, Nicholas, great sound. They're a great looking venue. Do you remember what that venue was where you were playing?
It's a church transformed into a big studio. So you don't see on the video, but there's a big production section with all the buttons, the big computers, a big window
Ah,
that's disconnected from the floor thing like with
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know how it works, but
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's really well made, a big place, that's hosting big artists there.
A
But I have
recording
the
studio.
chance,
Yeah,
yeah, recording
yeah,
studio. But I
yeah.
have the chance to know the owner quite well. Um, so he lets me hang out there if I want, just play and do my stuff
Right.
for fun.
Well,
So I've done
what? Yeah,
other videos also, but I mean
yeah.
it's a pleasure to have that chance.
Well, what really impressed me, and for any wind instrument player, whether you're a saxophone player, I play the saxophone there, but if you spend too long up in the altissimo range, you end up sounding like, those guys with the laser beam mouthpiece and the razor edge sound. And when you go and try and play, if you have a crack at playing Stardust or something, there's no one on the planet who's going to want to listen to your tone. Now, I'm interested on the trumpet. Do you, I suppose, equipment wise, I believe you play the Wayne Bergeron LA Yamaha trumpet, do you? Or is that your main axe?
Yep, it's my main horn. Yeah.
And what about mouthpieces? Are you a one mouthpiece guy, or do you change mouthpieces when required for the different projects?
Yeah, so I have two mouthpieces. The first one, my main mouthpiece that I use for most of my work is the Louis Dalzell T10. So it's a lead mouthpiece.
Yep.
It's what I used to go up there. But the second mouthpiece is I've had it for a long time. I might change it soon, but it's a Schilke 13B. So it's not the deepest one, but
No.
it's deep enough for me to get that, commercial classical sound, something more round. But what I've really learned, and I've been inspired by, as I mentioned, Wayne. Wayne is my prime example for this. He's got a great sound all over. So when I heard him, I knew it was possible with only one mouthpiece.
Yeah.
So, in that video, I used the bigger mouthpiece, but I know I can get that sound with the other mouthpiece. It's just you have to put the time in, the focus, but you really got to pay attention on how you sound. And I feel like people get too stuck up with playing up high, but you don't have to forget that you're playing music and you got to sound good all around. Otherwise, trumpet
Oh.
players might be impressed, but other people might not like it quite as much.
Let's talk about piano. I want to play for our audience. Just because your videos are really short, I've joined together a version of Rhapsody in Blue and a Chopin ballad that you play. And I just put them together. You're in a beautiful space here again. I don't know whether it's the entrance to is it a performing hall or something? Do you remember where you're on acoustic piano here? It's a lovely
Yeah.
sounding room.
Yeah, it is. It's in a mini church. It's I know the owner again, and he's got this beautiful grand piano. So I have the chance to go and practice there if I
Great.
want to have this beautiful
Fantastic.
sound. It's in my hometown, really in the middle of nowhere.
Oh
I
my good.
absolutely love it. It's a beautiful place, a beautiful garden and everything. So it's always a great time going there. Yeah.
Well, let's share with our audience quite the opposite of the lead trumpet player, some beautiful classical piano playing on a beautiful acoustic piano. Okay, Nicholas, beautiful piano playing, quite the opposite of what you'd expect the high note trumpet dude to be doing.
Yeah, well, I've started piano, at 7. I've had a private teacher, for most of my upbringing on piano. But then I got into conservatoire
Yep.
for about 2 years, close to my hometown, and
Yes.
that's where I got these pieces from. I'm pretty sure, and really, that was my focus back then, just perfecting this instrument. But in conservatoire, that was the period where I got introduced to trumpet. And I started doing trumpet a lot and less piano. But my teacher knew that, and wonderful teacher. She proposed me Rhapsody in Blue, a jazz piece, we can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun with it. So that's why I learned it. And I've always loved Chopin's music in the past, and I wanted to play that ballad so
Oh,
much. So
yeah.
it's always fun to learn these pieces, and I'm still trying to do it today, but I've got less time, and that's life. But I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
in the future, when I have more time, I'll continue learning these pieces because it's always such a great experience.
When you're sitting at that piano, do you feel you're a classical musician? What do you switch between in your mind? Tell us about that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I do currently. That's what I know best. Uh, I mostly do jazz piano now, but when I do classical piano, it's another world. It's another world of music. You have to separate both of them. There's always ways to link them up together. Like Rhapsody in Blue, it's considered a classical piece, but there's a lot of jazz things.
Yeah.
So for that piece, it's just because I said separate the two, but maybe not that much. It's just you have to play the right things at the right time. In
Yeah.
Rhapsody in Blue, you have these jazz things that you have to play like a jazz player.
Yes.
I couldn't recall exactly, but I just know that there's some things that you can't play like you played a Beethoven piece or something like that.
No.
It, music is interpretation. You have to be in the right style, and that goes for any style, not just classical and jazz, but all Latin music, funk music. There's always that swing that you gotta have different than all the other styles. You can't just play a jazz piece with a classical styles and vice versa. That's not how it's gonna sound the best. And I don't know how exactly I learned to do that. It's maybe because I took both instruments very seriously, and I was very submerged in both styles. So, I was only purely classical my whole life basically. So I got to know that music quite well. I think I could know it more because, I've stopped doing it since,
Yeah.
but I've still been there. But then I put my focus completely on jazz, completely. And
Mm.
so now I understand jazz better now. And I think the main way to get out of this is to put your focus 100% on something. It's always better to split. People might think different. That's how I did it personally. Uh, you know, uh, Different people work different ways, but I
Yeah.
know that in my experience, putting 100% of my focus on one thing has always helped me out in anything in life.
Well, if the results are there for everyone to see. In fact, let's have a look at your version of Fly Me to the Moon. You spoke about it earlier. So, this again is a multi trumpet arrangement, really beautifully recorded. I'm assuming you're just shooting all this on your smartphone, are you? Or what technology are you using to film these multi tracked pieces?
Yeah, so the video is filmed on my cell phone, the Samsung S10e. So
Yeah.
it's quite basic. It's
Yeah.
even on the front camera. You don't need that much quality to make it work.
Yeah.
If you have a good software for editing, I use CapCut. It's not that
Okay.
pro, you could say.
Yeah.
You play around the colors, the quality,
Oh, it's
with
very good.
technology these days,
Yeah.
anything can work. I have a Zoom H4n microphone, so it's a
Okay.
portable microphone.
Yes.
I could put it anywhere I want, and it's always going to sound the same. So that's wonderful. So even if I'm far away in a forest, it's going to sound the same pretty much as if I was in my house because I record very close to the microphone.
Yeah.
Usually, trumpet is a bit further away.
Yes.
This is that's how I started doing it. Recording all the stuff, it's been self-taught completely. So I have my own ways and to make it work. I know it's not conventional, but I record very close to the microphone,
Yeah,
and that gives a consistent sound.
it certainly does. Let's have a look and listen to Fly Me to the Moon. Fantastic, Nicholas. Beautiful arrangement, really accurate lead trumpet sounds, and even your backing trumpets. You remind me of people like Jerry Hay, the great players. No matter whether they're playing the third trumpet part or the lead trumpet part, it always they played with the same quality sound and the same degree of accuracy. I assume you are from the theory that every part in that trumpet section is equally as important.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is. Well, I would say the lead part is what you hear the most, of course.
Yes.
It has to be solid, but
Yeah.
if there's nothing behind it, it's not going to be the same.
No. Now, I've had the chance through the podcast to interview some great trumpet players. I don't know whether you're aware of Jim Manley from St. Louis, an amazing trumpet player. If you haven't heard of him, check him out, and I can send you some links. But Jim is the absolute master of efficiency. He'll just put the trumpet up there and hit a double high C, just pop, takes the trumpet out of the boot of the car, and
I might have known about him. Yeah,
yeah, Jim
might have
Manley.
seen.
I got the chance to
Yeah,
record with him through the podcast.
I've seen
All,
the videos. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
him. Yeah, I know
yeah,
him. Yeah,
he's a great player, great
yeah.
guy, and he's all about using the least amount of effort possible to get the results. He tips the egg timer completely upside down. But apparently, when he first started playing, he was like you, blowing his head off, just killing himself, and thinking, I'm not going to last the distance if this is how I've got to play. I also got the chance to do an episode with John Snell, who's a co-owner nowadays of Bob Reeves Brass in Los Angeles. Great trumpet player, but his life has been dealing with the desperate anguish from the professional trumpet players. I need a new mouthpiece. I can't get myself. All of the classic nervous professional trumpet players. I need a mouthpiece to help me play. So his was a wonderful insight, having talked to all those players and tried everything himself, that there's no one correct way to play the trumpet. Some trumpet players absolutely believe when you're learning the trumpet to free buzz, free lip buzz. Some say you've got to do mouthpiece buzzing. Others say don't do any of that. Do lead pipe buzzing. And then others say throw all of that in the bin and please God, just play the horn. So I'm really interested because whatever you've done, and I don't know whether you've tried a little bit of everything, but your teachers and you yourself, you've made astonishing ground in 4 years on this difficult instrument, and we'll call it lead trumpet. Tell me about, have you gone down those rabbit holes of different approaches? Have you? Well, you're smiling, maybe you have.
Yeah, it's so funny because everything you said, we're all living through that, the different opinions clashing all together.
Yeah,
It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess, but I'm not saying that any types of these techniques don't work.
yeah,
It's just that they might not work for you, and you have
yeah,
to find what works best for you.
yeah.
And it turned out that for me, the main thing that worked for me is just blowing the horn.
Great.
I mean, I've
Yeah,
tried
yeah,
everything. I've tried it all,
yeah.
but I've never seen significant progress
Okay,
if I didn't just blow my horn until
yeah,
it worked, until I figure it out.
yeah. Now, talk about play the trumpet. There's a great little duo version of Charlie Parker's Donna Lee that you play at rat race tempo, you and a friend on guitar. Who's the guitar player?
It's one of my good friends here in my school. He's called Zachary Desrochers. It's a French name, so it's hard to pronounce in English. But I've known him since it's been 4 years, pretty much when I started taking trumpet seriously. I went to this summer camp and he played great. I mean, I call him a virtuoso. This guy, he can do anything. So I just asked him, hey, can we should do Donnelly together, and we was so hyped, and we did that together, and he just did like a couple takes. Everything was good.
It's
I just put
brilliant.
them all together, and
And it looks to
it
me
was
like is Zachary memorized that? It looks like you might be reading the part, or have you also memorized that part?
when playing these parts, they're quite hard. The best way is to memorize them. Uh,
Okay,
but but I have the charts. If I remember, I have the charts in front of me.
right.
Yes, yes, I do have the charts in front of me, but I spent a lot of time just playing through it out like a lot of time, more than people might think.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, otherwise it's not gonna work.
Okay, let's have a listen to Donna Lee. Okay, Nicholas, let's get back to your piano playing. As I said, most of your videos are for a target audience. They're very short, they're 30 seconds, 40 seconds, maybe a minute. But you have got one extended video of you playing a beautiful classical piano piece, back to Chopin. You're playing it, I bet you would have loved to have played this on the Steinway 12-foot grand. You're playing it on a Nord electric piano, and it's a piece of music that would sound fantastic on an acoustic piano. But I actually want to play our audience the full length of this because they've seen you doing little, bits and stops and starts, and they're probably thinking, oh yeah, can he actually play, a full length version of anything? Well, the answer is hello. Sit down, get a cup of tea, and watch how you play this. Tell me about this. This is the Fantasy Impromptu in C sharp minor. Tell me a bit. This is a grandiose piece of music, written, of course, by one of the world's best ever classical piano players, who also died very young. He had a short life. Tell us a bit about this piece of music and your history with it.
Great. So that piece was introduced to me by one of my good friends of mine in secondary school. It's a hard piece, and I always love to challenge myself doing hard pieces like that. Turns out I absolutely love the piece, every part of it. I genuinely like it. It's not just because it's well known, because I know it's people can consider it overplayed or things like that in the piano world. I don't know if anybody considers it like that. Uh, but I really liked it deeply, and I started practicing it seriously. But the video is quite old, and I had my technique back then. It's fine. I mean, it works. I think it works. It works great for the time I put in, and I just wanted to put out this quick video of just me playing that piece that I knew I loved, and I'm pretty sure I still know it today. I would have to put in the time to put it back into my fingers, probably.
Absolutely, it's an absolute credit to you. And as I said, it is over 5 minutes. I want to play the whole piece because I think it just rules a line under anyone who's thinking, oh, this guy's a 30-second, hotshot wonder. This takes some playing, and I just wish I'd ask people to put in their mind the sound of that 12-foot Steinway if you are doing the same finger movements, but of course it's on an electric piano. It's a beautiful piece of music. Let's have a look and a listen to it now. Nicholas, you mentioned that nowadays you have a real interest in jazz. Now, I'm sure you're aware that the late great Oscar Peterson was born in your town, in Montreal, in Canada. Now, I got to see Oscar Peterson play live just once. He toured Australia with Joe Pass on guitar and Niels Henning Orsted Peterson on bass, just a trio, drummerless trio. And I still get shivers up my spine now. I ended up with a great seat where I was sort of side onto Oscar watching his hands. And unbelievable. Now, if there ever was a jazz piano player, I think you'd have to say Oscar was one. So tell me about you. You've been brought up in this on the piano. Hello, we've got all this technique. We've got to play what the masters told us to play. Tell us how you've snuck in the backside door, learning a bit of jazz on piano. Tell me that process.
Yeah, so it all came from me learning the trumpet. So picking up the trumpet, I played, of course, the classical pieces in secondary school. There were these exams I would have to learn, pieces that I couldn't really decide. There were also concert band pieces, and concert band pieces can often like resemble some jazz pieces. There's also big band adaptations or things like that. But trumpet introduced me to jazz and improvisation and everything. And I just realized that I can do that on the piano also. Why not? So I just, piano. It's funny. I'm self-taught about jazz. I've always had teachers for classical, but never for jazz. Well, no, that's not true. I had some, but I didn't take it seriously. The
Okay.
moment I took it for real, I was older than I've been playing trumpet for quite a while, and then I took jazz piano more seriously, and that's what I'm doing right now. Funnily enough, I have a teacher now who's giving me like little clinics once a week, and
Okay.
I mean I've learned a lot with him, and I don't want to, I said I'm self-taught, but there's always a lot of people behind every note that I play, and
Yes.
I never want to say otherwise.
No.
Uh,
And would you say that your classical piano technique, that extraordinary technique you've developed, has helped or hindered you on your jazz piano journey? Has it helped or
Completely
hindered?
helped.
Completely
Completely
helped.
helped.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I see how it can hinder things, but for the most part, I mean, it allows me to do anything I want,
Yeah.
and that's very freeing. On piano, I can do more things than on the trumpet. Trumpet is very limiting.
Yeah.
You have endurance to manage, you have range to manage, you
Yeah.
have sound to manage. Piano, it's always going to work.
Yes.
Unless you're really playing with too much tension, your arms are always going to be up and running. You can do anything you want. And thanks to the classical background, I can also play any line I want. It's very freeing. And of course, I'm not going to say that I can do absolutely anything, but I've never really been limited on that instrument, partly due to my classical background. Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic insight there. I want to take you back to full on lead trumpet playing. You've got a couple of great little clips, a series of you adding a trumpet solo to a song that never had a trumpet solo. And I think this is great because it's like you put yourself in there as if, okay, take it away, Nicholas. Michael Bublé turns around and looks at you. And I think what a great way to find your own sort of feet. I've joined, again, these are very short, so I've joined two of your clips together, Feeling Good and Sway, both Bublé hits. And again, for those playing at home, you've got the sheet music score in front of what you are playing. It's just wonderful, high energy lead trumpet playing. Let's have a look and listen to those two now.
dancers may be on the floor.
How important do you think it is for a young musician like you, looking at the way music might be heading in the next 5, 10, 20 years, to look beyond just playing an instrument or instruments, delve more deeper into the world of recording, production, marketing, that whole thing, I guess, of trying to be able to set yourself up as an artist rather than just a tradesman musician?
Well, yes, I try to keep my view as wide as possible. Do I like many things in the music industry. I've been doing arranging, composition, not posted much about it though. But many things about music. I want to be more also than just a trumpet player and a piano player, whatever. I mean, nobody knows where the industry is going in the next 5 or 10 years. There's this bunch of things like AI. We don't know what it's gonna do. But what I say to most people is just be prepared. Things might change, and develop the right mentality to attack these challenges that will eventually come. And that's what I'm trying to do right now, is just being ready when things might not go the way that I like them to. I try to be optimistic always, but I can't live like everything's gonna be fine always. So I make sure to be always prepared for any things to come and to diversify my portfolio, do as many things as possible as well as I can do. And that goes back to my point of putting 100% of my focus one thing at a time. That's what I've been doing for arranging. And I know I have had a rush in arranging, just doing that and basically not practicing anything else. Not trumpet, forget it. I was just doing writing stuff for hours on end, and then just playing trumpet for hours on end, and then piano for hours on end. But I try to keep my very focused on what I do, and I think that's why I can get deeper in the things I do, and in as many things that I can do also. Uh, yeah.
Fantastic. I think that's a good mindset to have, because if we look back at the history of the music, when the 78 records first come in, all the musicians thought, well, that's it. There'll be no live music anymore. And we've been through the vinyl records and the compact discs and the streaming, and who knows, as you say, who knows what's around the corner. But I think there's always room at the top of the mountain for a great musician, someone who actually can express themselves through an instrument. And I think as the world's going, more so an acoustic instrument player. We're going to play 2 more tracks. The first is a great track from Dizzy Gillespie, Night in Tunisia. Now, you're playing this with a good drummer. Who's the drummer's name?
His name is Loic Dumais. I don't know how to say it in English.
Well, I'm
again.
glad
It's
you're
Loic
saying
Dumais.
them. That's right.
Yeah, with a
Great
French
drummer.
accent is gonna sound Loic Dumais.
Oh, no. It's
But yeah, I'm doing my best.
He's a
Uh,
great he's a great sort of foil for your trumpet playing here. So was this an assignment for school, or what happened? What created this video? Why this video?
Yeah, so not in Tunisia. I have a bit of strategy behind my videos. I know which tunes are gonna hit more, I guess. Or there's just tunes that are more efficient to arrange. There's more ideas coming in, more ways to be creative. And turns out that was one of them. That's a piece that I've known for the longest time also. Longest time, not that much, but you know what I
Yeah, a
mean.
long time.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then I started arranging it, and I had this iReal backing track that I've used for like Fly Me to the Moon and other stuff, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure. But I told him about maybe doing some recording stuff. And Loic, he's got all the gear. He's got all the skills. He's got everything I need. So I just called him up and we
And
did that together, and
yeah,
it's perfect. It was
it's
perfect. Right
look.
on.
What I love about your videos is you're a young guy. You're living in a completely different sort of mindset to my generation and the several generations between us. But what shines through is there is that, it's always the musicianship, not the technology. I know you do some really clever things with your video editing, but they're clever on top of great musicianship. They're not just clever for the sake of being clever. I loved in this track that you brought in an acoustic drummer, and we can actually see him playing his acoustic instrument while you're playing yours. Let's have a look and a listen to Night in Tunisia. Nicolas, is there anything you'd like to share with our audience about projects you've got coming up in the future, or just ways you would like them to connect with you, to keep in touch with you?
Yeah, so I always try to keep busy doing a lot of new things. This month I haven't posted really. That's because I've been working on big projects that are coming up, but I'm just not sure if I can really say what's coming up until it's out.
That's
So
okay.
that's the main problem I have. But Christmas projects,
Yes,
partnerships with creators, things like that. Always lovely to work with brand new people. Great musicians also. But things are coming up. Buble solos. I love doing those. Really, they're always one of my favorite tunes. These arrangements are always great, great, great. I always get inspired when hearing these solis. It just leaves a hole for me to play. It's so easy, and I've got the perfect backing track and the perfect anything. It's just so fun to do. So that's coming up also, and probably some new arrangements in the future. But I've gotta think about it. But I don't have much time to
that's
think about all
fine.
those things right now.
What's the best way if people do want to connect with you? There's a lot of younger people who will see this and think, wow, I can relate to your age and what have you. How would you like them to get in touch with you, or to keep up with what you're doing? What's your preferred way?
Yeah, but well, basically, there's no. I'm not very selective. Any way quite works, but the ways that will probably work best is through Instagram DMs.
Okay,
It's maybe it's not professional, but you're gonna get through by me. I'm gonna see your message, and it's always a pleasure to help out and be to service to people. But email works. I've got you. Email works
as
perfectly
well.
fine. Also,
Yeah.
anything that you're comfortable with should work fine. And if I don't see your message, just try Instagram or things like that. I will see it eventually.
That's
Yes.
great. Look, I'd just like to say thanks, Nicolas, for taking part in this podcast. You told me off camera that this was the first time you've ever been interviewed in a podcast format. I can tell you, with your musicianship and your dedication to where you're heading, it absolutely won't be the last. So thanks very much for taking the time to be part of the series. We're going to go out with a classic Maynard Ferguson track here. I got the chance to see Maynard Ferguson play live once here in Australia. It was almost on the back of a truck. It was in a strange little venue out on a field, and it was his Bop Nouveau band, his little big band, out in a sports field that backed onto a rainforest. Now, the biggest memory I have of that was before the band started, Maynard went behind the back curtain on the truck, aimed at the rainforest and did a bit of a warm-up. No microphone, and the sound was massive. Maynard just going through a few little arpeggios before he come out to the front of the stage. And I can still hear it echoing through this forest, just his acoustic trumpet. There's no doubt in my mind, and people who got to see him close up agree, the biggest, fattest, most powerful trumpet sound they ever heard in their life. I can vouch for that. It's just unreal. Now, you do a wonderful version here of Star Trek, the Star Trek theme, and you're in Maynard's chair, which is a pretty brave move for an 18-year-old. What do you remember about recording this? What's your
I
memories
mean,
of recording this?
it's been a challenge. It's not every day that I can hit a double high C. Not every day. I mean, I'm gonna admit it. I'm
Yeah,
working towards being more consistent on it. But the video's separate. That was the first thing I recorded that day. That was the
yes.
double high C. At the end of the day, I couldn't get even close to it,
No,
man. So I
mate,
just put that in the end.
Yeah,
perfectly fine. Everything works.
that is beautiful. And thanks for the honesty there. Mate, you're a great musician, and I think you're destined for some great things. So I just encourage you, stick with the plan, mate. Stick with whatever you want to do in life. It's been fantastic sharing a little bit of time with you today and seeing an insight from your generation into what it's like playing music in 2025.
It's been great, absolutely great. A pleasure to be here and speaking with you. It's been a great time, you know. Yes, a first experience, but it was a great one, and I'm looking forward to any other opportunities to do the same.
Thanks, Nicholas. Bye for now.
Thank you.
For our collaboration, Nicholas chose a wonderful melody that was composed way back in 1931. It's called A Beautiful Love. Nicholas plays this melody beautifully on the trumpet, and I get to support him on the tenor saxophone.